Something is missing from Red Dead Redemption 2. A silence where there should have been thunder. Rockstar Games delivered one of the most critically acclaimed titles of the generation. Yet no major single-player expansion ever materialized. No Undead Nightmare sequel. No new frontier to explore. The question haunts the community, why? But while that question lingers unanswered, someone else stopped asking. And started building. His name is Rixus. A YouTuber. A modder. And the architect of something Rockstar never built. He calls it Nuevo Paraiso, the Forgotten Frontier. Not a simple mod. Not a texture pack or script tweak. An expansion. Fan-made. Ambitious. Years in development. The project promises to resurrect an entire region cut from the final game. Mexico. But not as it was. As it should have been. Mexico exists in Red Dead Redemption 2. Technically. Cross the southern border and you'll find terrain. Empty. Unfinished. A ghost of the first game's vibrant frontier. Players discovered it early. Used exploits to reach it. Found buildings with no interiors. Roads to nowhere. Evidence of ambition abandoned. The data miners went deeper. Found unused assets. Cut dialogue. References to missions that never shipped. A wound in the game's geography. The answer isn't hidden. It's economic. Red Dead Online launched in November 2018. Rockstar had learned a lesson from Grand Theft Auto 5. Online multiplayer generates recurring revenue. Microtransactions. Gold bars. Battle passes. Single-player expansions sell once. The math is brutal. GTA V's single-player DLC was cancelled for the same reason. The studio redirected resources. Prioritized the live service. The community protested. Rockstar stayed silent. The expansions never came. Consider the numbers. Grand Theft Auto Online generated over $1 billion in 2020 alone. A single year. A single game mode. Meanwhile, traditional expansions for games like The Witcher 3 sold millions of copies but represented one-time purchases. The business case for single-player content collapsed under the weight of live service economics. Rockstar made a choice. The data supported it. The fans paid the price. A void emerged. Where official content should have lived. And into that void stepped the modding community. These aren't casual hobbyists. They're skilled developers. 3D artists. Writers. Sound designers. Working without pay. Driven by something else. Passion. Disappointment. The refusal to accept what wasn't. Rixus represents the vanguard of this movement. But he's not alone. Dozens of creators are building what Rockstar won't. Reclaiming the frontier one asset at a time. Rixus didn't set out to recreate Mexico from the first game. That would be nostalgia. Tribute. He wanted transformation. Nuevo Paraiso was set in 1907. The epilogue era. John Marston's time. The region needed to reflect that period. New settlements growing. Old ones decaying. The Mexican Revolution brewing on the horizon. Infrastructure expanding. Lawlessness thriving. A living, breathing extension of the game's existing world. Not a museum. An evolution. The scope is staggering. Multiple new settlements. Each with unique architecture and population. Train robbery opportunities along new rail lines. Gang hideouts scattered across the desert. Hidden locations rewarding exploration. New stranger missions. Ambient encounters. Dynamic events. All voiced. All scripted. All integrated into the existing game systems. This isn't downloadable content. It's a parallel development effort. One man coordinating what would typically require a studio. Rixus started with what Rockstar left behind. Those incomplete structures. The terrain geometry. And used voice lines discovered in the game files. He's not creating from nothing. He's archaeology. Excavating intent. Then comes the transformation. New buildings modeled. Interiors furnished. NPCs placed and given routines. Quests written and programmed. The technical challenges are immense. Red Dead's engine wasn't designed for user-generated content. Every edition requires workarounds. Reverse engineering. Patience. The new settlements represent the project's core. Each must feel authentic to 1907 Mexico. Rixus researched period architecture. Studied the first game's aesthetic. Consulted historical references. The buildings aren't random. Cantinas positioned near town centers. General stores on main streets. Sheriff's offices at strategic points. Churches dominating skylines. Every placement tells a story. Every structure serves gameplay. Form and function married. The way Rockstar would have done it. Should have done it. Train robberies were iconic in the first Red Dead. In RDR2, they're present but limited. Nuevo Paraiso expands the system. New rail lines cross the Mexican desert. Carrying different cargo. Different passenger manifests. Different security levels. Some trains run gold. Others transport prisoners. Military convoys move weapons. Each presents unique challenges. Unique rewards. Unique consequences. The wanted system extends across the border. Rob the wrong train and bounty hunters follow. The frontier remembers. Gang hideouts dot the landscape. Not simple shooting galleries. Fortified positions requiring strategy. Some occupy abandoned haciendas. Others hide in canyon networks. Each gang has personality. Territory. Grudges against rival factions. Clear one hideout and the power vacuum shifts. New groups move in. Or old ones retaliate. The dynamic faction system creates emergent narrative. Unscripted stories born from systems interacting. The kind of depth Rockstar excels at. The kind Rixus is attempting to replicate. Red Dead Redemption 2 rewards exploration. Strange statues. Hidden rooms. Environmental storytelling. Nuevo Paraiso embraces this philosophy. Hidden locations are scattered throughout Mexico. A crashed stagecoach with a dark secret. An abandoned mining operation concealing treasure. A hermit's cave filled with cryptic writings. These aren't marked on the map. No quest arrow guides you. Discovery must be earned. The way exploration used to work. Before waypoints. Before hand-holding. When games trusted players to be curious. Red Dead Redemption 2 features thousands of lines of dialogue. Professional actors. Motion capture. Industry-leading production values. Rixus doesn't have a studio budget. Or access to the original cast. Yet Nuevo Paraiso requires voices. NPCs must speak. Missions need dialogue. He's turned to the community. Voice actors volunteer their talent. The quality varies. Some performances match professional standards. Others reveal their amateur origins. It's the expansion's most vulnerable element. And perhaps it's most human. Where does Nuevo Paraiso fit in Red Dead's story? Rixus made a choice. The expansion activates after the epilogue. John Marston has settled at Beecher's Hope. The main narrative is complete. This timing is strategic. It avoids contradicting canon. Doesn't interfere with Arthur's story. Doesn't break the carefully constructed timeline. But it creates a question: why would John return to Mexico? What draws him back? The answer must be compelling. Personal. Inevitable.
The writing carries enormous weight. Red Dead Redemption 2 modding exists in a gray area.
Rockstar doesn't officially support it, but doesn't aggressively prosecute it either. Unlike online cheating, which they destroy, single-player mods occupy a tolerated space. Tools have emerged. Script hook, LML, map editors. Community developed. Constantly updated.
Without them, projects like Nuevo Paraiso couldn't exist.
The infrastructure is fragile. A single update from Rockstar can break everything. Modders rebuild. Adopt. Persist. An endless cycle of creation and repair. Every fan expansion walks a legal line. Copyright. Intellectual property. Terms of service. Rockstar owns Red Dead. Every character. Every location. Every piece of music. Nuevo Paraiso uses all of it. Rixus can't sell the mod. Can't profit directly. Can accept donations. Patreon support. But the expansion itself must remain free.
One cease and desist letter could end the project.
Rockstar has that power. They've used it before. Against other projects. Other games. The threat hovers. Unspoken. Ever present.
Take-Two Interactive, Rockstar's parent company, has a complicated relationship with mods.
They've issued takedowns. Most notably against GTA Online mods they considered threatening. Fan remakes of older games disappeared under legal pressure. But single-player content often survives. The distinction seems to be monetary. If it doesn't threaten revenue streams, Take-Two typically ignores it. Nuevo Paraiso falls into that category. For now.
But corporate priorities shift. Legal strategies change.
Nothing is guaranteed.
The project exists in borrowed time.
Rixus isn't building alone.
The project has attracted collaborators.
3D modelers contribute buildings.
Writers submit quest ideas.
Voice actors record lines. Testers hunt bugs. It's become a distributed development team. No hierarchy. No contracts. Just shared purpose.
Communication happens through Discord,
Reddit, YouTube comments. Assets are shared. Credit is given. Progress updates maintain momentum. This model couldn't exist 15 years ago. The tools didn't exist. The platforms didn't exist.
The community structure didn't exist.
Now it does. When will Nuevo Paraiso release?
Rixus has been careful with promises.
Development is slow. He has a day job. Collaborators have other commitments. Progress happens in stolen hours. Weekends. Late nights. Early estimates have passed. The scope expanded. Features were added. Complexity grew. The community asks constantly. When? How long? Rixus provides updates. Shows progress. But avoids firm dates. He's seen other ambitious mods collapse under deadline pressure. Watched creators burn out.
He's learned from their mistakes. Undead nightmare haunts every discussion of Red Dead expansions.
The first game's DLC was legendary. Horror, Western, zombies. A complete reimagining of the map. New mechanics. New story. It set expectations.
When Red Dead Redemption 2 launched, fans assumed a sequel was inevitable.
Undead Nightmare 2.
The community created mock-ups,
Concept art.
wish lists.
Rockstar stayed silent.
Years passed.
The expansion never came.
That absence is what Nuevo Paraiso must contend with.
The ghost of what could have been. How does a fan expansion compare to official DLC? The differences are stark. Budget. Time. Resources. Rockstar spent 8 years developing Red Dead Redemption 2. Employed hundreds of people. Invested hundreds of millions. Rixus has years, not decades. Volunteers, not employees. Donations, not venture capital.
Yet both share something crucial.
Love for the source material. Respect for the world. Commitment to quality.
The constraints are different.
The goal is the same.
Expand the frontier.
Give players somewhere new to ride. Red Dead's engine imposes limits. The Rage engine. Sophisticated. Proprietary.
Closed source.
Modders work without documentation. Without official tools. Without support. They can add content. Modify existing systems.
But fundamental changes are nearly impossible.
New mechanics require workarounds. Compromises. Creative solutions that often feel like hacks. Because they are. Nuevo Paraiso will never match Rockstar's technical polish. Can't. The engine won't allow it. What it can match is ambition. Vision. Heart. Quality assurance for a project this size is staggering. Rockstar employed dedicated QA teams. Testers worked in shifts. Documented thousands of bugs. Ran automated tests. Rixus has volunteers.
They play through content.
Report issues. But coverage is incomplete. Edge cases slip through. Save-breaking bugs hide in corner scenarios. The expansion will launch with issues. That's unavoidable. The question is severity. Game-breaking or merely annoying? Immersion-shattering or forgettable? The community will be understanding. To a point. Patience has limits. Nuevo Paraiso isn't alone in ambition.
Other massive Red Dead 2 mod projects exist.
Some add entire gameplay systems. Others rebuild multiplayer.
A few attempt story additions.
Most never finish. Scope kills them. Or burnout. Or technical impossibility. The projects that survive tend to be focused. One mechanic. One area. One feature. Nuevo Paraiso's breadth is unusual. Risky. The wider the scope, the more can go wrong. But also the more impressive if it succeeds. High risk. High reward. The modding equivalent of a Rockstar bet. The modding community has produced expansion-scale content before. Look at Skyrim. Enduro. Falscar. Beyond Reach. Massive projects. Hundreds of hours of content. Professional quality. Some rivaled Bethesda's official DLC.
They proved fan expansions could work.
Could be extraordinary. But Skyrim had advantages. Official modding tools. An open engine.
A developer that encouraged modification. Red Dead has none of that. The technical barriers are higher.
The legal ground shakier. The precedent exists.
But the path is harder.
Rixus cannot charge for Nuevo Paraiso. Legal reasons make that clear.
But development costs exist.
Time. Software licenses. Hardware. Voice actor equipment. Server hosting.
He relies on Patreon.
YouTube ad revenue. Donations. It's not lucrative.
Probably doesn't cover the effective hourly rate if you calculated it.
This is important. It reveals motivation.
No one builds something this massive for the money they can't legally collect. They build it for legacy.
Recognition.
The satisfaction of creation.
To prove it can be done. By not creating official single-player expansions, Rockstar missed something. Not just revenue. Though that's debatable given the opportunity cost.
They missed narrative closure. The chance to extend beloved characters' stories.
To explore corners of their world left untouched.
To reward the fans who made Red Dead 2 a success.
The goodwill has value. Difficult to quantify. But real. Each year without single-player content, that goodwill erodes.
The modding community's rise is partially fueled by that erosion.
By disappointment. By abandonment.
By the need to build what won't be built.
Mods preserve games.
When official support ends, the community keeps them alive.
Graphics updates. Bug fixes. Quality of life improvements. New content. Red Dead Redemption 2 will eventually age. Rockstar will move on. Servers for Red Dead Online may shut down.
But the single-player game, enhanced by mods, can live indefinitely.
Nuevo Paraiso becomes part of that preservation. Not just adding content. Ensuring the game remains relevant. Played. Discussed. Loved. Long after the studio has abandoned it. Digital archaeology becomes digital immortality. Will Nuevo Paraiso feel like Red Dead? That's the crucial question.
Not whether it has content.
Or ambition.
But whether it captures the game's essence.
The weight of the world. The deliberate pacing. The melancholy beauty.
The sense that every action has consequence.
These are difficult to replicate. They emerge from thousands of small details. Animation priority. Sound design. Environmental storytelling. Rixus understands this. Has studied it. But understanding and executing are different challenges.
The expansion will be judged not just on what it adds,
but on whether it belongs.
Installing mods intimidates casual players.
It requires steps. Downloads. File manipulation. Following instructions. One mistake and the game won't launch. Or worse, corrupt saves.
Nuevo Paraiso will face this barrier.
Its potential audience includes everyone who played Red Dead 2. Tens of millions. But its actual audience will be much smaller. Those comfortable with modding. Willing to take risks. Accept instability.
The technical barrier limits impact.
Always has. Mod managers help. Tutorials help.
But friction remains.
The greatest expansion in the world is worthless if players can't access it. Nuevo Paraiso is PC only. Must be. Consoles don't support mods of this scale. Sony and Microsoft maintain closed ecosystems. Approve what can be installed. Bethesda negotiated limited mod support for Fallout and Skyrim. But those are exceptions. Rare. Contractually complex.
Rixus has no such relationship.
No approval process.
Console players, the majority of Red Dead's audience, will never experience his expansion.
They'll watch videos, read about it, but never play it. The platform divide creates two versions of the game. Two communities. Two frontiers. Every time Rockstar updates Red Dead Redemption 2, mods can break. The executable changes. Scripts fail. Dependencies break. Modders scramble to update their tools. Their content. The community waits. Days. Sometimes weeks. Nuevo Paraiso's complexity makes it especially vulnerable. More systems. More dependencies. More points of failure. A single Rockstar patch could render months of work temporarily inaccessible. This fragility is inherent to unsupported modding. Part of the ecosystem. Accepted. But frustrating.
A reminder that these creations exist at Rockstar's mercy.
Dependent on their inaction. How do you teach players to experience new content? Nuevo Paraiso can't rely on in-game tutorials from Rockstar's UI. It must communicate differently. README files. Video guides. Community wikis. But seamless integration is impossible. Players will stumble. Miss content. Get lost. Not understand new systems.
The documentation burden falls on Rixus and the community.
Every feature needs explanation. Every location needs direction.
It's not enough to build content.
You must teach people how to find it, how to use it, how to appreciate it. Professional reviewers don't typically cover mods. Gaming press focuses on commercial releases. Nuevo Paraiso will live or die by community reception. YouTube videos. Reddit threads. Steam reviews if it has a presence there. Word of mouth. This creates unpredictability.
A commercial game has marketing.
Preview builds. Hype cycles. Controlled messaging. Rixus has none of that. The expansion will release. People will play. Opinions will form. Organically. Chaotically. It could be celebrated as a masterpiece.
Or dismissed as ambitious but flawed.
There's no way to know until it happens. Define success for a project like this. Not sales. Can't be. Not profit. Won't happen. Maybe player count? Downloads? Hours played? Those are metrics. But success might be simpler. Did it honor the source material? Did it give fans something they wanted? Did it prove that passionate individuals can create what corporations won't? Did it inspire others to attempt their own impossible projects? If Nuevo Paraiso accomplishes that, if it shows what's possible, then the bugs don't matter. The rough edges don't matter. The missing features don't matter. Legacy is built on ambition, not perfection. Nuevo Paraiso represents something larger.
The democratization of game development.
Once, creating content required studios, publishers, budgets, infrastructure. Now it requires knowledge, time, determination. The tools are free or cheap. The distribution is digital. The community provides support. This shift threatens no one. Expands possibilities for everyone. But it does expose the gap between what companies choose to create and what audiences want. Between profit-driven decisions and passion-driven art. The modding community isn't competition. It's a mirror. Reflecting what we've lost in the pursuit of live service revenue. Rixus isn't the only one building.
The Red Dead modding community is vast.
creators adding weapons, clothing, mission scenarios, graphics overhauls. Each contribution matters. Some are small. A single coat, a hat, a texture improvement. Others are substantial. New gameplay systems, economy reworks, survival mechanics. Together they form an ecosystem. Nuevo Paraiso is the most ambitious. But it's part of something bigger. A collective refusal to accept that Red Dead Redemption 2 is finished. That its potential is exhausted. That nothing new can be created. The community says otherwise. Every day. Every mod. Every update. What if Rockstar announced single-player DLC today? Would it overshadow Nuevo Paraiso? Make it irrelevant? Probably. The official content would have budget, polish, marketing, integration. Everything Rixus can't match. But it would also validate what he's been saying. What the community has been screaming. That there's appetite, demand, need for more story content. That Red Dead Online isn't enough. Every fan expansion is evidence. Testimony. Proof that the market exists. Perhaps Nuevo Paraiso's greatest contribution isn't the content it creates, but the argument it makes. The one Rockstar keeps ignoring. Nuevo Paraiso isn't finished. Not yet. Rixus continues building, recording, testing, iterating. The release date remains undefined. Months away. Maybe longer. The scope continues expanding. Features get added. Ambitions grow. This is both the project's strength and its danger. Perfectionism can become paralysis. Ambition can become impossible. At some point, good enough must be good enough. The question is whether Rixus can recognize that moment. Release before burnout. Before the community loses interest. Before Rockstar does something that breaks everything. The clock is always ticking. Even when no one sets the timer. Will Nuevo Paraiso live up to its ambition? Can one person, supported by volunteers, create something worthy of Rockstar's legacy? Will the technical limitations prove insurmountable? Will the legal threats materialize? Will players embrace it? Or find it lacking? These questions have no answers. Not yet. They won't until the expansion releases. Until thousands of players ride into Mexico. Experience the new content. Judge for themselves whether it's worthy. Whether it belongs. Whether it fills the void. Until then, all we have is potential. Possibility. And the strange, inspiring sight of someone trying. There's something profound about attempting the impossible. Knowing the odds. Understanding the obstacles. Proceeding anyway. Rixus could have accepted that Red Dead Redemption 2 would never get a Mexico expansion. That Rockstar had moved on. That the story was complete. Instead he asked, what if I build it? What if we build it? That question transformed disappointment into action. Frustration into creation. Absence into presence. Whether Nuevo Paraiso succeeds or fails, that transformation matters. It's a reminder that communities don't have to accept what they're given. Or not given. That passion can be productive. That one person, refusing to accept no, can change what exists in the world. In the end, this story isn't really about Mexico. Or Red Dead Redemption. Or even Rixus. It's about what happens when corporations abandon their creations. When profit motive eclipses artistic vision. When business decisions override player desire. A void opens.
And into that void step individuals who refuse to let beloved worlds die. Who take up the tools and continue the story.
Imperfectly. Passionately. Without permission. Without profit. Simply because it needs to exist. Because they need to create it. Nuevo Paraiso is one man's answer to a question Rockstar never asked: what comes next?
The frontier isn't finished.
Someone just needed to reclaim it.